morning. Once again, we're heading to the marina. Welcome back for season 2. This is our second episode in season 2, called Fixin' a Hole. Comes from the Beatles tune, Fixin' a Hole. Well, so in the last video I had mentioned that there are a number of things that have kind of held back the process, namely the weather. And it has been rainy, which you've seen, but it's also been cold. It is April 17th, it is Easter Sunday, and it is 38 degrees. Now, what are you going to do on when it's 38 degrees? Well, what I have to do is I have to plug one hole. And so Fixin' a Hole is not only a good name for this video, because I'm fixing the final hole from the through hole removal, but it also kind of talks about, you know, the Beatles say fixing a hole where the rain comes in and stops my mind from wandering. And when I get to the boat, and I've talked about this before, there's so many things to do that I tend to get lost, and I tend to jump from one project to the other project as something holds me back. Oh, I'm being passed by an Audi R8. If you can hear it, sounds pretty cool. Anyway, back to on topic. I kind of jump from project to project when something gets in my way. So it might be that I don't have the right supplies. It might be that I don't have the correct tool. More likely it's the weather. So I will get to the boat. I'll have a car full of tools. I use my car as a toolbox. And I will jump from one project to the other. And I'm not really, as I said, I think in episode 1 or 2, not making haste slowly. Over the last couple of trips to the marina, I have limited what tools I bring to only the jobs that I'm going to do, and realize that if I don't have the tool, that job's going to have to wait till the next time. But we're in a situation this week where next week we have 4 days of sunshine and warm enough temperatures for me to put the epoxy barrier coat on the bottom, which means I have to get everything done in preparation for that today, Sunday, and Monday. It's going to rain on Tuesday, so I'll be away from the boat. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are epoxy barrier coat, hopefully ablative paint, and then just some minor things, put the winches back on, and we're back in the water. So there is a goal, there's an end to this tunnel. But today, right now, at 38 degrees, I'm heading down to the marina. I'm going to prep everything, get my table set up, get my epoxy set up, get my fiberglass and my peel ply all cut, ready to go. When that temperature hits 40, which is what the recommendation from Total Boat is on their fast hardening 5-to-1, I will finish that last hole and hopefully move on from there. So it's going to be cold, it's going to be windy, but I think we're going to get this done. So that's one hole, that's through hole, that's the intake. And you can see, you might be able to see that there's 4 screws that were sheared off, and I have to get those out. And they were sheared off, probably there was a strainer on top that got sheared off it somehow. That's the one hole that I have to get out. With no head in the boat, well, when the head was in the boat, the seacocks were stuck open, so there was always water coming in the boat, but because there was pipes that went above the water level, there was little chance of you know, the boat sinking. But now that the head is out, yeah, the boat will sink if we put it in. Let me show you the other one. This one, because it's bigger, was the discharge. There's a couple of ways that I've seen on the internet to remove these. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. We're going to try the big one first. We'll see what happens. So I put a plug in that hole. What I'm going to do is take a hole saw and try to cut just around the perimeter through the metal and see if that works. I'm going to go put on a mask and hope this works. I have a grinder if that doesn't, but let's. I decided at this time to first grind the dome of that through hull flat, and that way the hole saw would get a better purchase. I was successfully able to get the through hull and the seacock out. I had to drill a hole a little bit bigger than the size of the seacock. The hull is a 1/4 inch thick here, and as I taper back, I'm going to do 12:1. I'm also going to put something on the inside here, so 12:1 is 3 inches. So I'm going to bevel back using my grinder 3 inches. This is the scary part. I'm not going to film this because you don't want to hear me cursing. Alright, so there's the through holes that we have to fix. Now, we don't really have the room to do a 12:1. So what I did is I made a plug for that area. So I have a backing plate for the port side and a backing plate with the plug for the starboard side needing the plugs. It's a 1/2 inch thick. I'm using some thickened epoxy to glue those backing plates in, and then also cover them with some just 1708 on top of that. And so that's the plan for the inside. Came out really nicely. And here's the finished product from the inside. Now we're going to move to the outside. So we can start doing a little epoxy at 44 degrees, and with the wind blowing it's going to be tough. Sometimes you'll notice that I'm using Total Boat products. Now, I want to say that I'm not endorsed by Total Boat. I do not get anything for free. I do not get anything discounts, but I do get something that I find very valuable, and that's a ton of free advice. Now, one of the things that Total Boat does when you buy their resin is they also give you these pumps, metered pumps, which is nice. You put, 1 pump of each, and that tends to work really nice. Unfortunately, at 40 degrees, the epoxy is a little too thick, but they also give you by weight. So I have my scale. In order not to get any more epoxy on that I've already gotten, I'm going to weigh it out. I have the fast hardener. It's 5:1. It's going to be 100 grams of resin to 18 grams of hardener. I'm going to mix it in a cup. I'm going to keep the cup in that roll of tape, and that way it's not going to blow over. And hopefully this will all work out. Knee pads, the most indispensable tool that I own. First, we're going to clean up that area with some acetone. So in the ever question big to small, I'm going small to big. And we're going to wet out this second piece. We wet out the boat. Alright, let's start by putting the small one on. So I think I have 3 layers of 1708 I'm putting down. Matte side down, small to big. I know there are some, like West Systems Epoxy, that say go big to small, and others like Andy at Boatworks who go small to big. And so there's a lot of conflicting theories on the best way to do this. There's 2 things that I'm working on. One is in airplanes, it's mandatory that they go small to big. And you know, if a fuselage is, for boats under pressure, a fuselage of a plane is under a lot more. So that's one thing. Secondly, is my belief, and I read this somewhere, and I kind of believe, that once these are all bonded up, it's really more like one big layer. You're not going to get layers separating. So it's really just one big patch. We have a couple hours of nice weather, so I'm going to wash the boat. That's in preparation for painting. But before we do that, let's take a look at our little peel ply. Oh, look how perfect that is. A little sanding around the edges. It actually feels more solid than what's around it. I am ecstatic at how good that looks. I gotta sand this down. But we're in good shape, really good shape. Beautiful job, Michael. I'm excited. Well, there are some definitely other holes to fix. These are from the winches. I don't know how many times they were mounted and dismounted, but I had to fiberglass those holes and put a layer of fiberglass over the top. I'm now going to fair it, paint it, and remount the winches. Well, the holes are fixed. The through holes are fixed. The hardware has been rebedded. The winch or the winch holes have been fixed and reinforced. Now it's time to put everything back together. Make everything look pretty, make everything work right, and launch her in the water. So come on back next time and we'll talk about the beautification process of Raven. Hey, please subscribe. Please. You'll help me out a great deal. If you got your sailing video, please share it with me and the other people who subscribe here so we can check out what you're doing. Thanks very much.